Today at the Biltmore Plaza in Belize City, day 2 of the discussion between climate change experts from across the Caribbean took place. The purpose is to address how member CARICOM states will ease the effects of climate change in their respective countries. And after ratifying the COP21 agreement reached in Paris last year, heads of state from CARICOM, who will converge on Placentia next week, will be discussing a plan of action.
Yes, right now we have our technical team that have been really going into these agreements and making sure that we can live up to our responsibilities. But we can't look at these agreements as a challenge for us. You know, there will be tremendous amount of opportunities embedded in these challenges. For example, we now have in the Paris Agreement parity between adaptation and mitigation, which really puts us in a position to be able to benefit from the agreement.
For the strategy to be implemented effectively, there is, of course, the need for financial resources. Now, climate change is as a result of an increase in the amount of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, primarily generated by mega-industrialized countries. And at the World Climate Change Conference in Paris, these countries pledged to assist with mitigation of the natural phenomenon.
The pledge is that by the year 2020, we should have access to $100 billion in financing for climate finance, and that amount is supposed to be $100 billion every year thereafter. In the COP decision, there was even a pledge to review that with the intention of scaling it up. We've said that $100 billion is the absolute minimum, it's the floor, because when you look at what a country like Belize will require, if you look at just the Caribbean, maybe the Caribbean's needs alone would take that $100 billion would use it up. Then you have Pacific countries that will disappear entirely.
But according to Dr. James Fletcher, while the emission of greenhouse gases from the Caribbean are insignificant globally, all countries have agreed to reduce in the number of fossil fuels burned.
What these developed countries have to do is to drastically reduce on their emissions of greenhouse gases. They have made a commitment to do that through what we call the INDCs, the intended nationally determined contributions, which every country was supposed to submit to the Secretariat of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, that basically said, among other things, how they will reduce on their emissions of greenhouse gases.
Climate change has had adverse effects in Belize in the agriculture sector, with erosion along the coastline and even coral bleaching. So what is government doing to address this?
Each country has a responsibility to really develop a list of nationally determined contributions, so to speak, right? So we are in the process of also putting a lot of those together. Some have been submitted to the convention folks, but we are in the process of doing that. I mean, part of our sustainable development strategies, our agricultural policies, all take into consideration our climate change responsibilities. So there's a lot that's been going on.
Dwayne Moody for News 5.